So
yeah.
besides, it's like almost 2.5 hours.
Where's the intro? Where's the intro? Roll the intro.
Y'all are infidels. We're burning witches tonight. Not even Smokey the Bear is going to be able to save your ancestors this time, you stupid moron.
Someone in the comments picked them with a Band-Aid. That was good. I'm sorry, that was fucking good. Anyways.
Well, that's my job as a woman, I think, first and foremost. And then as a writer, I got to maintain some level of like, making sure that you know your place.
Everything that they've done since claiming the PS5 is for hardcore gamers. It's just simply appeal to the casuals.
That's about it. Follow me on Twitter. Preserve film, just like preserving video games. I don't know.
Hunter! What's up? In the White House? Seriously?
Well, Marvel and what Stan Lee, I think, I don't know if it was genius or laziness. It's like, we'll just put them all in one city. We won't even make up a fiction, so we'll just use new.
Here the night, what you got coming up for tomorrow?
I'm perfectly sober.
Lies.
Thank you. Are you home?
Do you have children? Must not you be their hope? Are there future generations from all of us who have failed them?
And the mom shaming, a term typically used to highlight harsh judgment of birthing people.
Who wrote this shit? Who wrote this shit?
Hello, people. It is episode 47. Sorry, episode 74 of the Barroom Podcast. I got my numbers mixed up, and we're not even 3 seconds into the show. How you guys doing? I decided that we're starting the show, and there's just like a conversation that I don't really care about. We're just gonna go ahead and go live without introducing anyone. So,
like roll intro.
Exactly. The best way to end the conversation in this track is just to start the show live without any introduction. And we're here for another Tuesday night. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about here tonight. Some Disney related content and some very heavy topics are going to be discussed tonight. So joining us here, we got a good buddy, Orange Hat Reviews. How you doing today, Orange?
I'm doing well. Doing well.
Mm-hmm. The mean looking teenager next to him is Cold Classic Cage. How you doing today, Cassie?
Chilling, man. Just been hanging out, working on content, keeping it moving, but hope all is well.
I'm not big into Halloween these days, but I mean, if you were big into Halloween, you already got the Jericho rocking. Why don't you just get like an LA Raiders cap and just go in as Ice Cube for Halloween? You pretty much nailed it at this point.
Let's do it, man. Fuck it.
And then joining us here, who can cosplay as DJ Ren, is our good buddy Cider. How you doing today, Cider?
I don't know yet.
Is it just go and wait and see?
I just don't know yet, Jacob. I just don't know. Let's try to get through this show, man. Let's just try to get through the show.
I hope your happiness isn't going to do it on this show, because you're going to be in for a long night.
Yeah, right.
And then shocker, someone who's actually joining us on time for the first time ever is our good buddy Rick Aragon. How you doing there, Rick?
I'm great. I've got good teeth, and I've been on time a couple of times. That's a little unfair.
No, you haven't. Even Doba Fett's calling you out. It's like, getting exposed right at the beginning of the show.
Well,
Hell
I
has
love
3
everyone.
snowflakes in hell, or hell has 3 snowflakes bottled, and that's all because Rick showed up on time.
Yeah, somebody in hell's looking for the AC so they can turn it off.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, I'm doing good, and I'm pleased to announce that my Life with Lucy retrospective is finally over.
Oh my god, it's been ending for like the past 3 months.
Exactly.
But it's official. It's official
Yes!
now.
Yes!
Yeah. It's a way to respect a legend.
Oh god! Look, everyone's here on time today. Even this guy's here on time. What the hell's even going on here today?
There goes the last 3 snowflakes.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, what's up? Hey man,
there's
I'm
an
here.
Arctic
but
cold
I'm
front in
doing
hell
something
right
real
now.
quick, but I'm right here. I'll be in the background.
There's an Arctic cold front going on in hell right now. Everyone's here on time for a show.
So that's what that draft was.
Damn.
Oh man. Well, we do have some of our guys joining us here. Our good buddy Neozoic has one of his long drawn out rants here, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this to him. Long ago in Los Angeles, Hollywood, a greedy master of virtue signaling and political agenda films, unleashed an unspeakable evil on a foolish audience. But the foolish group of YouTubers, yet by named Society Review, stepped forward.
Go back. Start from the beginning.
Okay.
Long ago in Los Angeles, I, Hollywood, the greedy master of virtue signaling and political agenda films, unleashed an unspeakable evil on the foolish audience. But yet another foolish group, led by a man named the Society Reviews, stepped forth to oppose me. Insert battle sequence, Barroom Podcast. Before the final blow was struck, I tore open a portal in the internet, space, and time, and flung them deep into the Pornhub side of the internet, where my evil is law. Now the foolish group of YouTubers seek to spread their words and expose the evil that is Hollywood.
Jack, Samurai, Jack. That's the theme song, right? I'm pretty sure that's what
Yeah.
Pretty much nailed it there. Neozoic with a Samurai Jack reference in all seriousness. Howdy, crew. He says, what's your favorite, here's a question, a favorite episode of Moment or from Samurai Jack? Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember Samurai Jack from like almost 25 years ago. And like I remember it as a show that happened, but I was more in tune with like Dragon Ball Z at the time than Samurai Jack, so I can't pull a moment from you guys. Maybe you guys have something different to contribute here.
I'm with you, man. I was more into DBZ.
I
was watching
everything.
Gohan kick the shit out of Cell.
I watched everything Cartoon Network because I was a Cartoon Network stan over Disney. I also my second favorite was Nick. Don't get me wrong, but I always used to watch everything Cartoon Network. I mean, there's some great moments in Samurai Jack. That first episode hits really hard. It's been a really long time since I have watched it, but I remember him going to the future and being confused as fuck what was going on. It's a really interesting show for what it was.
Well, and I really enjoyed when Aku created Evil Jack.
Yeah.
That was hilarious because Evil Jack was a jackass, and like he was rude, he was impatient, and it made Jack angry and impatient to see himself doing that. And I thought you don't see that with like evil villains. They're like, evil clones are like, you're the evil version of me. I will not be influenced by you, and instead slice you in half in 2 minutes so I can proceed on to the end of the episode. No. Jack was confronted by his temper. You don't see that a lot in modern, at least of all in the modern clone battles, like the clone actually having a point beyond being filler.
Yep, you really don't at all. That's one thing I could take. Like, I think Cassie had mentioned this just real quick too. Like when it comes to like the big three, I think for most people who grew up in that 90s, like 2000s era, like our entertainment before we actually like grew up was Nickelodeon, Disney, and Cartoon Network. So for me, if I'm looking at the best eras from all of those networks, you guys can chime in on this one too. It was always like late 80s to mid 90s Nickelodeon. Then it was about the same period for Cartoon Network because I also like just a lot of the Hanna-Barbera, like older cartoons from like the 80s and the 70s and whatnot. And then when it comes to Disney, my era was pretty much like late 90s to like early 2000s during that time period too. So I'm not sure which one period of any of those networks you guys enjoyed more as you go with Cassie there.
Well, for me, like I said, I was a big Cartoon Network fangirl for as far back as I can remember. I remember watching Hanna-Barbera, so a lot of that stuff, super nostalgic to me. Stuff that I used to watch with my parents, even my grandfather. Me and him would watch Tom and Jerry, the Flintstones, all the time. So, in regards to just the nostalgia and like the family time, I always went with Cartoon Network. But even when they got their own stuff, like they started making their own cartoons and branching out. I mean, you had Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, like
they turned 25 yesterday. You know that?
Oh my gosh.
Girls.
Great show, man. They had some of their own original works that to me stand the test of time. I can go online and watch those, and they still are amazing, fun to watch.
I love Powerpuff Girls. It was like the design of the boogeyman was both creepy and corny at the same time. If you guys remember those old, like I think it was like the first couple of seasons for that show. It's like there's certain things that you appreciate from that era. I'll give you that much. Who else do we have here tonight? Excalibur, who's joining us here on our show tonight, saying hi. Vanya saying hi to our group here in the chat. We already know Doba Fett's here. He already cooked Rick like 2 seconds into the show. So there you go there. I heard some random voice. It was probably Orange. Hopefully we don't have any more glitches like last week's show where somehow my internet died like right in the middle of the show and we had to end things very abruptly. So hopefully that doesn't happen this week around. Alex versus Evil joining us here tonight. We see Leslie Tarkin joining us here for our show as well. Who else we got here? It said bring back the 90s Cartoon Network was the bomb. Like I said, for me, it was always the older stuff that I like. I still like Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo and stuff like that, but it doesn't hold up nearly as well as I think that it did. Like the older stuff always held up better for me. That's just my opinion there. Eddie Brock also joining us on the show. Say Foster's Home was his favorite. Yeah, I think I definitely had stopped watching by that point, but I do remember that show you're talking about there.
Toonami was the shit back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yep. It took 6 months for Goku to finally beat Frieza because that's just the way that it was always pressed out. It's like
just for it to restart the whole series all over again and run through that shit all over again. Yeah.
Yep. And then you just had to like watch it one day to realize, oh wait, this is a new episode, right? And then I don't know about you guys, but like growing up in San Diego, we had like the Spanish channels that were playing DBZ, but they were playing like the Boo Saga in Spanish. So keep in mind, in Toonami, we were still like in the middle of Frieza, right? And then you go to like channel 12 in San Diego, and they're playing like Majin Buu. It's like, how are we so far ahead of the series here? It's like, what the hell's taking Toonami so long?
I was shell shocked.
Who is this pink guy?
Yeah, exactly.
I was shell shocked because, like, pretty much towards the end of the Frieza saga, I was hanging out with my cousin and he had a VHS of GT. I didn't, and it was like the end of GT. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why do Vegeta and Goku look like monkeys? What the fuck is this? And it's like all that time I was waiting to get to that point to be like, oh man, just to find out that GT sucked balls.
Then there was also on the internet, they had these Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball manga websites where you could see tiny little, GIFs at the time. GIFs before they were even named. And they showed all sorts of stuff from Dragon Ball GT and freaking Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and shit. And it's like, and I'm just, I haven't even got done Cell Saga yet on Toonami. And it's like, what the hell? What is all this cool shit?
Well, if you've been on the internet long enough, you remember back in the early days of the internet where there was always those rumors of, oh, there's going to be a new Dragon Ball series called Dragon Ball AF. And it was that one fan art of Goku that people could never tell if it was actually real. Yeah,
the one where he has
Yeah.
white fur and the red face. It's
exactly.
SSJ5 or something.
Yeah.
Yo,
oh my
I
God, I
remember.
those.
I wish I'd half the Dragon Ball Z shit I had when I was a kid. I had comic books of Dragon Ball Z, not manga, but they took the manga and made it into comic book like shit, like tried to Americanize it. And I had those really like when I was super young. Maybe it was in like the 2nd grade. I wish I still had that stuff.
A friend of mine actually had a comic of Goku versus Superman.
Wow, that's pretty sick.
Where he went as high as Super Saiyan 3. And it's like, damn, dude, that's awesome.
And then Akira Toriyama forgot what Super Saiyan 3 was.
Yeah, right.
No, he did. He admitted it in an interview that he completely forgot about it. No clue.
Like, what's Super Saiyan 3 again?
The eye roll thing? Really?
Is that the one where they forgot the eyebrows? Is that what happened? This is one of the most infamous scenes in Dragon Ball GT.
Oh, para,
Oh God,
you remember
no.
this, don't you?
Sadly, yes.
Don't forget to smile. Don't forget to smile. What? Now shake it, right? Boom, para, boom, para, boom, para, boom, para. Respect the beat.
That's enough of that.
Yeah, I think that's all enough.
Yeah, dude, I almost threw up in my mouth a little.
Boom, par, boom.
But I will say this though, because I kind of like GT. And I'll still stand by that to this day, because so many people for so many years gave GT crap for being like the worst series ever. And then guess what? You guys got Super, and now you guys hate Super more than you hate GT. So suck it, I win. That's all I gotta say.
I don't mind
Super Saiyan 4 is cool.
There's some shit, or there is some serious shit fucked up with Super, but they're actually giving Vegeta a little bit more growth in it. I mean, yes, I know
Not
at the end of
personal growth.
Yeah, I mean, and this does technically take place between the ending of Dragon Ball Z and the end of the Buu saga.
Yeah,
and it's like, so you can actually see the growth that's going on there. But yeah, man.
The problem with Super is that Akira Toriyama's had dementia for like 20 years already. And now he can't remember like half the... He forgot that Launch existed as a character. Okay, like what the fuck are we doing here, man?
Well, no, see, the thing is that Japan's this crazy place where if something sells, they never let it stop selling. As long as it keeps selling, you have to keep making it forever. And Akira Toriyama's like, I'm really old and I don't remember how to tie shoes and what algebra is sometimes. So they're like, okay, well, here's an artist we found that mimics your style completely. You're going to sit in a dark room with him and tell him what to do for the next 20 years or until you die. And this kid's like, I get to spend every day with Akira Toriyama. And Akira Toriyama's like, I get to spend every day.
Where's my pen? Where's my pen? And it's like, there's literally an article where he discusses
Akira Toriyama.
So rough, man. Being a Dragon Ball fan is rough, man. I know that one of the big reasons he wanted to come back is because the last thing he wanted was the last piece of like Dragon Ball content was to be that godforsaken live action film.
Yeah. Oh my God. There was a report that I actually saw. There was a report that I actually saw back when that movie came out. Akira Toriyama saw a preview of the movie, and over there, silence is what they call, or is essentially interpreted as they like it. He was silent because he fell asleep, and he's like, wait, you guys, why am I here?
I gotta say this. None of you kids today will ever know the struggle of trying to download a Dragon Ball Z movie in 2001. It'll be like 7 hours to download the entire movie on net zero internet. It's like some of you guys will never know the struggle that we had to go through back then.
And the best part is that it wouldn't be subtitled when you got it.
No. It wouldn't.
You just have to assume what was going on. Yeah.
The little Mexican android is mad at the trucker android because he's taller. Yes, that's what's happening.
Yeah, then the little black android for some reason is a drunk too, which I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
right. That was a little on the nose, wasn't it? He had a flask and everything.
I liked the original Broly movie. A lot of people are like, he's just a freaking psychopath that went crazy because Goku cried too much. It's like,
and
thinking about it psychologically, it kind of makes sense.
Right.
You're deprived of sleep for so long as a baby, so that would drive you nuts.
I really do
the
like
second
the original.
Broly movie was pretty good too. Now, I think we
Yes.
can all agree that the Bio Broly movie is probably the worst out of all of them. Like by
Dear
far.
God. I mean, I thought Gotank's going up against him and actually doing a pretty good job. It's like, dude, did you just go Super Saiyan 2 as a kid?
Well, guys,
Younger
the
than your
reason,
brother?
the true reason why Broly 2 is the greatest, Dragon Ball Z movie of all time is because I took a massive piss on Broly.
Thanks, Trunks. Do you need a job, Cassie? I'm pretty sure Funimation's looking for somebody that can do Trunks.
Yo,
No, that
for
was
them to rob
Gotenks.
me blind.
I suppose, yeah. There's a whole
rob you
Cassie
blind from
couch
what?
thing,
You're already
too.
broke. You might as well get robbed a little bit.
I mean, when I first saw Goten, it's like, he's such a freaking adorable little shit, you know?
Yeah.
And
now they're all kids.
They're still kids.
I can't wait for Dragon Ball Daima. That's going to be great. That's going to be awesome. You got Kid Vegeta. No. Kid Goku and Kid Vegeta trying to accomplish anything at all together. Okay. That is comedy gold. All right. The two young kids.
You know
you
what?
got ADD to the max and little Goku. And you've got, I've got to
Goku and
impress
Vegeta Jr.
people in little Vegeta. It'll be magic.
You know what? On some level, I have to respect them. It's like, oh, what did you guys hate about Dragon Ball GT? The fact that we made Goku again. Well, guess what? We're doing it again.
Everybody's a kid.
Well,
Everybody.
and this time it's like, you guys should have just went with
The Muppet
GT,
Babies.
Goku and Vegeta Jr.
Oh, I love the Muppet Babies.
But
Finally,
now they're
something-
Dragon Ball Z characters.
Finally, something I understand.
Yeah,
I've
they're
been listening
Muppet
here,
Babies.
and I'm going, I have no idea what almost any of what you're talking about
Yeah.
was. My mind just went back to the Snorks. See, that's what I remember. All right. I'm sorry. I love the Snorks.
That's a
And I'll stand by
that's a
that.
Broly was
throwback.
But
actually
I have very little
more-
idea of what you guys have been talking about. And
Well, that's because you were like 30 years old when we were all like
Yeah.
20
Exactly.
or 10.
I actually am. I can be all of your fathers, apparently. And I
Wait,
apparently
how old are you?
I'm over 30, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, so am I.
So there we go. I will say this:
I'm my own grandpa.
There's
I
over
am-
30, and then there's way over 30.
I am younger than what Wiggles thinks Rob is. I caught the last few minutes of that, and I'm actually apparently I am younger than Rob.
Yeah, we were literally talking about that before we went on the air about how that last 10
Rooftop.
minutes was completely off the rail.
Rooftop
And I just
Korean
happened to
is
catch-
absolutely right.
I actually caught the last few minutes of that, and I'm thinking, wow, okay. I wish I wish I had been here, but
No,
I
you
had
don't.
to.
Let's be
No.
honest, no, you don't. All right, then. Well, I guess we should go ahead and get this show started. And of course, Biggles joins us right at the end.
I am younger than Rob. And since he's not here, I can get away with it. I am younger than.
I know
Lies.
this poor bastard is a Mets fan. My condolences. I'm a Mets fan too.
And a Jets
Yeah.
fan. You are a Jets fan
Yes.
too. Don't forget.
We are
Yeah,
the
so Biggles, you
embodiment of
actually have
suffering.
a suffering Mets fan to link up with if you ever need support. You did it yourself. And on that note, let's go ahead and start the show here. Let's talk about the MCU because this thing is dead. This thing is
Oh my
absolutely
God.
cooked.
Don't call it a comeback. Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah, good luck.
We've been for years.
Yeah, this thing is absolutely toast. So the Marvels came out this weekend. Apparently, we were like the only 3 people who actually saw the movie. It's the lowest drawing MCU film of all time. Keep in mind there have been 32 before this film, so this is lower drawing than all 32 movies rolled into one. It's not doing well. It's probably going to lose upwards of $300 million when it's all said and done. So this is a massive loss for them. And Disney's pretty much in panic mode because they're looking at what they have coming up. And they don't have Kang the Conqueror. He was supposed to be the next Thanos, but now that Jonathan Majors is in legal trouble, they're forced to go into another direction, so he's out. They're looking at their Disney Plus shows that they got coming out. None of them are any good. You got Echo, you got Agatha, you got Ironheart, and then a couple of what ifs. And then you have the Daredevil one that got completely shelved. They're going to have to reshoot that from scratch. On top of that, the movies that they got coming out aren't interesting either, so they decided they were going to push back their entire lineup for what they had coming out next year. Now, as of right now, there's only one MCU film scheduled to come out next year, and that's Deadpool 3. And the reason for that is because Captain America has apparently been pushed back due to massive reshoots. What I mean, massive reshoots, try about 6 months worth of reshoots here. So let's bring this up here for a second. Captain America Brave New World, which keep in mind, it used to be called New World Order, but I guess that was too on the nose, so they went with Brave New World instead. Delayed till 2025 due to bad test scores and extensive reshoots. So the hot mics, Jeff Snyder was the first to report this, that Captain America 4 is now being moved to February 2025 after terrible test screenings. An hour later, it says that it's in shockwaves that multiple movies were supposed to be the tentpole going forward have now also been pushed back as well. This film is apparently scheduled for 5 months of reshoots, which is going to start in January and won't conclude until at least May. They said 3 major sequences are going to be cut and they're going to be essentially rewritten. So they're looking at a scenario here where they're probably going to have to reshoot a lot of this movie from scratch. And that just shows absolute disaster behind the scenes for Disney. But this wasn't the only film that has been delayed. Pretty much everything has been delayed here. Let's jump over to our bounding article. What do we got here? Deadpool 3, which I think is currently still filming at the moment. So it's come out next year. It's been pushed back to the summer. Captain America Brave New World has been pushed back. Blade, which has had a multitude of production issues behind the scenes, that's been pushed back. The Thunderbolts has been pushed back. Pretty much everything that was scheduled to come out over the next, I guess, 2 years has been pushed back at least a year or so. And they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the Fantastic Four. They're still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the future of this entire thing. Like, they're screwed. Like, they are fundamentally effed in the A. Let's just put it that way. This whole thing is on fire. I think they just realized that we're at a point now where none of these things are any good. And by releasing them, we're losing upwards of $250 million every single film. We need to stop the bleeding, but there's nothing out there to stop the bleeding for. So we're in a position where we're kind of effed pretty badly here. So I'm gonna start off this one with Rick, the MCU fan here of the panel. What is your thoughts on everything being on fire in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially Captain America 4, the movie that nobody wanted in the first place?
They need to end it. They need to end it. This Marvel's movie, that pretty much showed that there's no interest, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it's female-led, female-directed. That's irrelevant. It's just people no longer care. We've all said this repeatedly. Once Endgame happened, that was it. People thought the story's over, but they are determined to keep pushing and pushing and trying to drag more and more properties. But they're losing money, and they're going to keep losing money. Think about it. We're going to have this movie released in 2025, February. That's a scheduled date. That's what pretty much the dead zone is. And January is pretty much where you dump all the movies that you really don't want. So you're going to put it so close to that period. You have to reshoot. You're going to cut 3 major sequences. You're going to reshoot for 5 months. Do these people not have script writers? You should have a movie locked in.
Do they have good ones?
Or any. At this point, you need to have your movie locked in, locked, all set by the time you go into production. You should not be making a movie and then realizing, oh, this is terrible. You're going to, we have to throw out everything. This is a terrible way to run a studio. It's a terrible way to run a business. And maybe what they should have done, if they really wanted to keep going on with all these shows, just put everything on Disney Plus and just give the remaining fanboys and fangirls and his generations, Roger Ebert, let them all go there. Let them watch it on the TV and not bother to spend money on a film, because nobody's rushing to see these movies. I looked at the screening for the Marvels on Monday night because I went to go see another movie. Uh, there were 4 seats. There were 4 seats sold for that screening, for a Monday evening screening. You really think it's going to? You really think it's going to make any more money? I wish Dune Part 2 had been released when it was scheduled to, because I have a feeling it would have crushed the Marvels. It would have just decimated it. That would have been the signal. But listen, for the people at Disney and Marvel Studios, put everything on Disney Plus at this point, because your audience is dwindling. If you really are determined to make more and more movies, understand people are not going to see them. The Marvels should be the sign. We're not going to go see it. Forget everything about Kang the Conqueror. No one's going to see it. No, there's never been a successful Fantastic Four film. Not even the Roger Corman version, which I do believe deserves Criterion. There's never been an interest after Endgame. Endgame was the Endgame, and they should have ended it there. Maybe released a movie every 2 or 3 years, make it an event. But no, they were determined, we're going to keep shoveling more and more and more and more of these characters that you're all going to love. And no, it didn't turn out that way. Just end it. For heaven's sakes, if any business that ran this way would have already been, declared bankruptcy, enough. Just end this franchise. Nobody wants it anymore. All things peter out. Musicals were very big for a while, and then they petered out. Westerns were very big for a while, and they petered out. Even biblical films petered out after a while. You have one
Hopes
or two
and dreams.
Yes,
petered out after a little while. Yeah.
Exactly. Everything ends. Everything ends in cycles. Just end it, and if you really wanted to, go to Disney Plus. That's where you want to. That's where you want to put everything. But stop releasing these movies. The more you release them, the more they're going to fail, and the worse your product is going to get. It's not improved. Just end it. That would be my one recommendation, but they're not going to take it, because a fool will just keep going and going and going until he's or she's completely decimated.
Cassie, this feels like the equivalent of like Ric Flair coming back for another match. It's like he's 72 years old. He died almost 3 times during the match. Now he's talking about doing another one. It's like, at what point are you just going to stop?
Can we just start a GoFundMe to stop Ric Flair from trying to kill himself? That would be. I would donate. I mean, why not at this point? Anything to save his remaining
he
years.
needs the money.
I guess so, man. It's not like wrestling's doing too well these days. But yeah, this whole situation. First off, why are they even bothering to do reshoots? They're acting as though, well, everything we've done up to this point has been very much like, has been completely accurate. Everything has fallen in line perfectly. We didn't make multiple mistakes already as it is, so who cares? Like, to me, when I look at this, it's all just like, why are you wasting all this money doing all these reshoots when you guys have no idea how to retain your consistency already to begin with? They should have just restarted a new universe after Endgame and just started from scratch and build off of that, and they could have had another another decade's worth of content that is more condensed than what they have to live with now. But unfortunately, they just want to keep going to the same bag, and it's like, bro, the bag is empty. Okay, Santa don't got no more gifts, buddy boy. Christmas is fucking over. Get over it. Y'all ain't making no more money. It's over, and I love to see it, because y'all have done nothing but shit on the people that made you what you are today. You've done nothing but do that. After you've won them over, with like the first 5 years worth of content, a little more than 5, you took the remaining time since to browbeat your fucking audience. And then you're wondering, oh, why is it failing? Well, because the audience hates women. No, we just hate you at this point, you fuckhead. So, I don't know. I didn't mean for that to get too ranty, but it just is what it is.
Hey, preach, girl.
Yeah, DK, if you noticed, Seth Rollins has apparently a minor role in the new Captain America film with 6 months of reshoots. Hopefully that'll be an excuse to get the belt off of him, because Seth Rollins is absolute garbage. All right, as our good buddy Jay Rance would say, dog doo-doo water.
Dog water.
I mean,
Dog water.
Speaking of Harrison Ford double fat, I'm actually more worried about him, dude. It's like, is he even going to be alive long enough to do these reshoots?
I mean, already like 82 years old now.
Keep him out of the plane.
I mean, he's as old as Joe Biden. He's falling down the stairs for Indiana Jones. He's falling down the stairs for Indiana Jones. He's breaking freaking ribs when he's falling down the stairs. I mean, holy crap. What more can this man give except for his blood? But
well, here's the thing. He's 81 years old now. By the time this film actually comes out, he'll be at least 83 years old. How much longer do you think that? And why would you even pick him to be what's the character? Ross in there, expecting him to be a part of this thing for an extended future. It's like he's 83. Like he can go like literally at any minute. He's at that age where any day could be your last, and you put him in a Marvel superhero universe. Expect him to be in a continuous universe in the superhero. Like, what are you guys doing?
I mean, not only that.
No, just to keep in mind that William Hurt died, so it's not like they haven't had the characters an actor die.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Orange.
Playing the role. I mean, Thunderbolt Ross is going to be like twice cursed now. But also, my perspective on this. You could actually literally consider the people in charge of the MCU and draw a comparison to Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars. They're gripping it so tight. They just want to keep it going so much when they should have just let it go. And because they're gripping it so tight, they keep on getting angrier and angrier when people don't freaking watch the movies. That, well, essentially they start being like, okay, you're all my enemies now. It's freaking Disney has become Anakin Skywalker from episode 3.
Yeah,
hate the sand. It gets into all these weird places.
It's just bad. I mean, they don't listen to anyone who tells them that their crap is bad. Like, you saw the cope all weekend long about people trying to make excuses for the Marvels. They were saying, oh, it was because Brie Larson couldn't promote the movie that it was bad, or oh, it's because of superhero fatigue. It's not that the movie stunk, and it's like they'll find whatever excuse they could possibly think of. It's like, no, it's just that we're putting out a bad product and nobody wants to see it anymore.
Oh well, don't forget, it's also racism and sexism, because the director
misogyny. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah,
they called it the highest grossing movie by a black female director, and that is the most insulting fucking shit I have ever heard. As an
because she is not a director.
And honestly,
not only that. You're saying that this is the best a fucking black female director can do,
right?
No, but the idea, but the idea that I know that it's a black woman who directed it, so I'm not going to go. That's idiotic. I'm sure most people have no idea who the director is. They're not looking it up. I'm going, okay, it's a black woman, so I'm not going to go. That's an absurdity. That's a ridiculous. There's a ridiculous reason. Although I disagree slightly. I think superhero fatigue does have to do with it. We've had a run of really bad superhero movies this year, so people are just worn out. They're not interested. Two of these characters, you'd have to watch the Disney Plus shows to have a vague idea of who they are.
you gotta do homework before watching a movie now.
Exactly. It's just too much to ask for the audience, and then to go and try to make another Captain America movie without the person most identified as Captain America. I mean, good luck with that. Good luck with that. It's just not going to work.
We lost the booty hunter.
Yeah, he'll be back soon. I'm pretty sure of it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they're getting to the point now where every show and movie that they put out now, they're going to be losing upwards to $200 to $300 million a pop now. Like they used to be back in the day. It's like, oh, these superhero movies make $1 billion easy. We'll make our money back. Now there's no one's like, no, we're done with this. So if they want to keep putting this crap out there, it's going to keep getting rejected, and no one is really excited for anything you got coming up. Your only key that you can dangle in front of the audience right now is, hey, we're bringing back Hugh Jackman, who's like 60, and Ryan Reynolds, so they can do their Wolverine and Deadpool shtick. But outside of that, it's like no one's excited for Thunderbolts. No one's excited for Black Captain America or Female Blade or Agatha Harkness. Nobody wants any of this stuff. And then the news coming out about these shows is that they're already terrible, so people know going into it that these films and these shows are going to be awful because you guys have to reshoot the entire thing because no one wants to see it.
Jacob, you're going. I'm telling you, the Young Avengers will save the MCU. All right? We know that.
Let's create a television show based on the lowest drawing Disney Plus show of all time.
Yep.
that
and not
will
only
save
that,
it.
I mean, for 5 months, you said that they are from January to May.
Yeah, at least.
Or on a generous side, that's $50 million a month, most likely, of reshoots. On a more realistic side, that's about 75 to 100 million a month. You're looking at 250 to 500 million dollars in reshoots. More likely going to be in between that. So there ain't no chance that Captain America 4 is going to make any sort of money. They are only putting themselves deeper into debt. What they should do is just release the fucking movie and pray to God that they make just enough to offset the debt. They've already lost, what, 1.6 billion this year in movie losses alone. Yep. So, yeah, they might as well just say, you know what, we should just release it because there ain't no way in hell we are going to make money or enough money. They're going to have to make $1 billion just to have this break even.
Yeah, and this is the problem with Captain Marvel. They delayed that movie for over 18 months. They had to do reshoots for the film because they were trying to protect their investment. But at the end of the day, it's like you had the summer box office to yourself, that you moved it away from there. You moved it to November, and then by that point, no one cared about the Marvels. Like, no one was clamoring to see this movie to begin with. And it's the same argument with The Flash. It's like, oh, we can't cancel The Flash because we have too much money invested. To like, you're going to lose the money anyway. You need to stop assuming that if we release this movie that we're going to get up. No, you're not going to get your money back. You're going to lose money. So just cancel the film and admit that you guys made a mistake, so that way we can move on. We don't have to sit through these terrible films. You're not going to get your money back. You spent $300 million like an idiot. Just eat the loss.
I'm curious. What was the amount that they spent on Batgirl, which they did cancel?
It was at least $100 million.
Return.
Yeah,
they got a tax return, or they were allowed to get a tax return on that.
All right, and they can't do that with any of these?
No, because these are way more expensive.
Good grief.
The thing is, they have no choice but to release them to try to offset whatever losses they're going to get. It's basically now their mission is to minimize as much of the loss as they can.
Yeah. And another note real quick. This 5 months of reshoots, I want to keep in mind, 5 months is like literally an entire movie. So you might as well just reshoot the entire movie if it's going to take 5 months of reshoots. Like the last Mission Impossible movie took like 5 months to shoot. Like this is by comparison. You're going to do reshoots for 5 months to fix this film. Like it's done. Like
it sounds like they're refilming it. If that's the case, man, like they're probably doing the whole thing. Remember they said about Born Again, right? That it was so shit they couldn't let it out. They had the Batgirl, the footage they already had. Remember?
Yep, and start from scratch. And then here you are. Here they said they had to reshoot 3 major sequences in the film, which means they basically are going to reshoot the entire movie.
Exactly,
and they have to like work it all the way around. But they don't want to come out and say that because they hear if they reshoot the entire movie, it's like, oh wow, this really is that bad.
There's no one minding the store. There really is. All of these people, who is it? Who is ultimately in charge? There's no one in charge because there goes his honorary Oscar for lifetime achievement. There is no way that you could make a movie or be so far into production and then realize, oh, this is bad, it's testing bad, we're going to just do 5 months of reshoots, cut out major scenes. It's all coming down to the script. If you don't have the script, if you don't have a vague
Exactly.
idea,
Like you couldn't figure out this thing was terrible when you were in the writing room putting it together.
yes, if you don't have an idea and you're just basically making it up as you go along, you're going to end up with more and more disasters. And this is going to be so hard financially for Disney. I honestly don't know why their stockholders don't openly revolt and try to push all of these people who are in charge out.
Well,
You're
some
muted.
people who are trying to do it.
They're suing
are?
them.
Oh.
Nelson
Yeah, their
Peltz,
shareholders
he's
are
trying to
suing
take
Disney.
over the board.
Good, because this is insane. I would look at this and say, you're wasting my money. My stock is going down because none of you want to admit that you have no idea what you're doing, and you keep you keep throwing good money after bad. My money is my money as a stockholder. I'm not a stockholder, but if I were, my money is important to me. I don't have millions of dollars in offshore accounts.
It's my money and I want it now.
Damn it!
I mean, I would definitely sue them for fiduciary or fiduciary breach.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I would do, because they are taking our money, the shareholders' money, and they are saying, "Well, we are going to push this." And look at what you have done after you have you have lost $1 billion this year of our fucking money. And you think that we are not going to have something to say about this? You're absolutely out of your minds. We should sue you. Honestly, freaking the mouse needs to worry about
a couple of
his
things
checkbook a
here,
little
just
better.
real quick. One, Double Fett saying that if it was this bad, it must be a franchise killer. I don't know. What about replacing Captain America with a black guy? Probably be a franchise killer in and of itself. In the idea before they had spent $250 million putting this piece of crap together. And then Kate said, "Have you heard what's been?" And then Kate said, "Have you heard what's been leaked?" I haven't heard the official leaks, but I did hear what you guys were talking about in the chat. And if that's true, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, we are coming up on another election season, which is probably part of the reason why they went with an Orange Man bad narrative, because they know that the 2024 election is around the corner. So if that was their focus, then yeah, like I said, just scrap this whole thing. Nobody needs any of this crap.
Well, maybe what they should do, assuming that it's not Trump but DeSantis who's the nominee, they have another villain there, because DeSantis went after Disney and destroyed their fiefdom there. So they have another villain that they could target. They need to end it.
Governor.
Yeah, they need to end it. Enough. I would just say fire Feige. I know that seems blasphemy to a lot of people who believe that he is God and deserves an Oscar, Kennedy Center honors, whatever else they want to throw at him for making their childhood dreams come true. But you keep losing money on us. You keep failing to deliver the goods. You're obviously not in charge, because not only do you have no idea of how your movie series should go, but you're openly mocked on, what was it, She-Hulk? Who keeps these people in power? Just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. I don't understand why they need to hold on to them. Just let it go. But Jacob, really, we do need a black Captain America, because we've never had a black superhero before in all of human history. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's right. Even that one that just died, he don't count either.
No.
I mean,
because he wasn't a woman.
In Fate or in the Infinity Saga, they were actually setting up Bucky Barnes to be the replacement. They had all the hints during Winter Soldier and Civil War, with the thing where he was holding the shield, and all of that, and yet when it comes to it,
in the comic books, the terrible new comic books they had already replaced him with Falcon. So that's what they were going to go for.
They also had him replaced with, or they actually had him before the Falcon took on the shield. They already had the Winter Soldier being Captain America. They even gave Hawkeye the shield for a little bit.
Well, now they're going to try to find some way to bring Chris Evans back, because, like I said, they're bleeding money right now. It's like a bloodletting.
Chris Evans just told him to fuck off.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of those guys told him
in his life.
I think a lot of those guys told him that. I think Scarlett Johansson just recently said that, yeah, she's probably not coming back either. I mean, why would she? She did just try to sue you guys not too long ago because you screwed her out of the money, like literally 3 years ago. And now you're like, hey, can you come back and put on the tight black suit again? Because we really need the money. Like, no, fuck you. Like,
what logical reason is there for them to come back? They've spent how long as these characters and it has done nothing to uplift their career. Yes, as these characters, they've made a lot of money, but it is proven that when they're not in this universe, they don't.
That is true.
They don't sell tickets. What incentive is there to go back to that? I can understand earlier in their youth, oh man, I played this character. This will propel me into stardom. That does not exist anymore.
I think it has to do with the idea that it will bring the now 40 or 50-year-old fans who still cry when Peter Parker gets disintegrated back into theater so they can squee one more time and say, oh, look, it's my Iron Man. Oh, look, it's my Black Widow. They've come back and now I can feel young again. I think that's the reason. Because there are people who just do not want to let go. And they don't want to let his generation's Gene Kelly, Harry Styles, back into the MCU as arrows.
Prominence.
So, yes.
I mean, if Robert Downey Jr. was smart, he would do Sherlock Holmes 3.
What point makes you think he's smart?
Just hear me out. He would do, or if he was smart, he would do Sherlock Holmes 3 just to fucking spite Marvel.
Okay. I'll allow that. Since someone who did not like the Sherlock Holmes films, I'll allow that.
Well, that's because you don't got a good taste for movies.
Sorry,
that's
Jeremy Brett is
still
still better. Although the music was good and Jude Law was pretty good as Dr. Watson. I will. Yeah,
I
just
like
there's a reason. There's a reason why Disney is continuing to lose money. And jump over to our next topic here. They're producing even more LGBTQ crap on their streaming platforms, and they have a new show coming out that's apparently going to attack the nuclear family in Midwest America. Which, yeah, that's exactly what you want to do right now. Start attacking the Midwest and the Bible Belt when you're bleeding billions of dollars every single year. That will certainly make the problem a lot better. There's a story here as Marvel bombs, Disney doubles down on pushing LGBT content on these streaming shows. So there's a couple of projects I guess they're working on here. The Walt Disney Company is moving out onto Hulu. I think there's about to get full control over Hulu here in the next few weeks. If that hasn't already been official, but they're currently promoting 2 high-profile gay and transgender themes television shows on its family-friendly streaming service, Hulu. Keep in mind, I think Hulu just announced that they're going to merge with Disney Plus sometime next year. So that's another cost-cutting measure just to put those 2 streaming services in the one, because it costs them too much money to have all 3, which I'm pretty sure they'll Disney will have like one streaming service once they mold ESPN Plus into that as well. But one of their series is a Disney Plus series called Culprits, which focuses on a gay domestic relationship between 2 men. And the show focuses on a criminal whose past life threatens to reemerge and disrupt their quiet suburban existence he has built with his male fiance. The series, which is on Disney Plus in the UK at the moment and in the US in Hulu, it also stars drag queen Eddie Izzard, who goes by the name of Susie Eddie now, which is just, it's a whole thing. But that's only just one of the shows here. The other one here, the one that I want to bring up, is a show on Hulu called We Live Here in the Midwest, and it looks at gay, transgender, and non-binary families who live in small towns and cities in America heartland. And so among the families profiled in this documentary, you have transgender parents. This is a quote here. What my dad was feeling and why she felt the way that she did was just more than just her. There's more people out there who are like this, one child said, whose father had transitioned into a woman. Another scene had a non-binary student discuss how she was treated in class. Students believe that non-binary does not exist because it doesn't. And here it is right the way know that we exist. So this is the trailer here. I think we'll just go ahead and play a little bit of this, but this is kind of the idea that Disney is backing. This isn't the first questionable series that Disney has backed on Hulu. There's many of them on here, but let's just play just a little bit of this one here.
It's more unusual here in rural Iowa to have 2 parents of the same gender.
We both grew up in Des Moines. We've been here our whole lives. We've never left.
Midwestern culture has an overall resistance to change. We're just people living in a community. Just two parents and a child growing up in the Midwest.
We are probably 1 out of 3 black families, let alone gay families. A lot of people assume that we're brothers or cousins. We're just who we are.
Well, to be fair, and I'm just going to jump in here for just a quick second. To be fair, no one would assume that you guys are lovers just by the sheer sight of two black guys being together. It's not like you see two black guys walking down the street. It's like, oh, they have to be banging. Like, that's not the natural reaction that you would have to that. If it is, you probably should go to
You
therapy.
see Tupac and Biggie hanging out, you like, they fucking. They fucking.
I mean, unless we're talking about like Will Smith or someone like that. I mean, I highly doubt that's like the first thought that you would have regarding those two, you know, or Dwight Howard, but that's another discussion. Let's keep continuing.
After I had come out, all of the energy got focused onto Katie and her preaching.
I gave a significant amount of my life to the church. I desperately miss the church.
Well, there's one way of going about that. You can, you know, stop being an abomination to God. I mean, that's the easy way to get back into the church if it means that much to you. Continue.
Positioning is a huge undertaking, and it's not for the faint of heart. I wasn't expecting my daughters to be in my life.
Oh my God, what the fuck is that?
What my dad was feeling and why she felt like she did.
I'm not gonna lie, when he said that, I thought it was in the trailer because it's transitioned so well.
I thought it was really fast, but it's like, holy shit, that's a man.
Yeah.
Was more than just her. Like, there's more people out there who are like this.
I very much believe that the bullying has re-emerged as a hot topic for LGBTQ plus students.
The students believe that non-binary people do not exist. I'm here right now, so we do exist.
You don't exist.
Across the nation.
You exist as
Seeing
a
shift in
binary.
Who our political leaders are. They're mad at me because I'm
Let's just be honest. The overwhelming majority of non-binary people are just white women looking for attention. If we're being bluntly obvious about
Swifties?
what's going on here. Yeah, give them a couple years, maybe so.
And the death threats that come with that show that people are still shook that we're here.
All of a sudden, 2016 came, and it's almost like we went backwards.
Oh God, it is going to be about Trump. Of
Yep.
course, everything's about Trump.
Trump
'Cause
turned the country against the gays all by
Mhm.
himself.
Single-handedly.
Single-handedly.
Which isn't
Overnight.
one of his fucking kids, or no, isn't one of his freaking family members like part of the LGBTQ?
I mean,
It's odd because at least online, the 3 gay people that I know on the Twitter X are all much more conservative than almost every person here. So it just seems bizarre that they would insist on this.
Yeah. This is the type of shows you push when you're losing billions of dollars a year based on bad content. Keep it up, Disney.
We're altering what defines a nuclear family.
No, you're not.
Our world is changing, whether people like it or not. That's the part that people don't realize.
Do we stay and fight or do we go? But where do you
go?
Where there's stability and safety.
Yeah,
Because it
go to
does
hell.
feel like at any moment.
Because if
anywhere,
you do
it could
try
change.
fighting, you'll lose bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because we will
Yeah,
just.
so there
We're
you
going to
go.
fight with people who are ready for war.
So yeah, this is what Disney does when they're losing money. Cider, I'll start this one off of you. Just how many zeros does Disney need to burn in a year before they ever are they just gonna go down like with the ship? Are they gonna pull like a Die Hard 3 and just bring the whole plane down at this point? 'Cause it feels like that's what they're doing.
I'll remind you that in the early 2000s, there was a show called Kid Nation, where they took a group of children in a school bus out to an abandoned gold rush town and left them there with just the cameramen to record them. And with only the instruction, if the child's about to die, that's when you interfere. Nothing up until then. So these kids ended up like drinking bleach on accident. They starved. They were like 13 of them to one freaking outhouse. They had no running water. They had no organization, right? And CBS denies the existence of this program. There are no DVDs. There are no like CBS All Access rewinds, catch-ups, reunion episodes. There's no nothing.
Because
There's
they
an
know this is like a
absolute
30 for 30 waiting to happen. that's
well,
probably why.
I don't know who greenlit it. I don't even know how it got into production, how it even found its way on the network. But this is what this is. This is an absolute lapse in people sitting around the table saying, who's going to want this? Now you get your Tumblr sycophants, your cat food aficionados, people who enjoy a nice 9 lives for dinner rather than steak or whatever, you know? And those people will probably adore this program. But as the Captain Marvel numbers have proved, they don't pay the bills or theirs.
Oh. I mean, like I said, it feels like out of all the studios, Disney is literally going to go down with the ship. Like in order to change their creative direction, you literally have to pry it from their cold dead hands. Because it's like it doesn't take. Put it to you this way: if you stick a fork in an electrical socket, you're going to realize very quickly that's something you shouldn't do, right? And then these people are like, they're just going to keep holding on to the fork and shove it in there even further because they're just committed that this thing is going to work one way or another. And it's just, I don't even know what else to say about it this way. You guys deserve pretty much everything you're getting here. Orange Hat, what do you think about this?
Oh, jeez. I actually do have family who are in the LGBTQ community. They are absolutely not like this. You want to know what they actually think? They're like, we just want to live, and that's about it. We're not flaunting our shit out there. We don't care what other people think. We are and honestly, they're more conservative than anything else.
Yeah, but these people are like, no, you need to understand that we exist and we're gonna be here whether you like it or not. So it's like even their presentation of, oh, this is just our lives. It's like it comes from a hostile environment.
When you come across as hostile, we will treat you as a hostile. And I will only say that much because saying any more, never mind.
Yep, FBI. It's a no-fly list.
Well, first, that Culprits show, the first thing I thought was, is this a continuation of Moonlight? Because that seems to be the plot of Moonlight, where he's gay and he's a criminal and he got out of prison and now reunited with the man that he loved. So I mean, that's not very original. Why are we assuming? First off, why are we assuming that the black men are criminals? That's racist. All right.
Yes.
So we've got that. Secondly, why are we assuming that the gay guy is a criminal, and you have to move on to suburbia to escape this? I mean, why? I mean, are we assuming that then all people who don't live in suburbia are law-abiding citizens, and there's no shady business? I mean, did not any of these people see Desperate Housewives? So there's that. Second, with this reality show, I guess the idea is that we're supposed to think that people in the Midwest are supposed to be very conservative and don't welcome people who are gay or whatever they want to define themselves as. It's curious because the Midwest is, what was it, the blue wall that most Democrats can firmly rely on. They can rely on Michigan, most of the time Wisconsin. Iowa has only recently shifted red. So I'm perplexed as to what their thinking is. Moreover, I'm reminded of that line, the love that dare not speak its name is now the love that won't shut up. I'm glad that people are able to talk about sex lives ad nauseum, but maybe there's something wrong with people talking about their sex lives ad nauseum. It gets dull, it gets repetitive. Why don't you make a reality show about the openly gay art conservative people that I find on Twitter? The gay people that I know, well, not my relatives, they're all pretty much on the left, but who are gay. The people I find on Twitter, X, who are gay and identify as gay, they are all so far to the right. They're proud MAGA people, and I'm just absolutely astonished that they're more conservative.
We
So
get it, okay? Turning Point USA has a lot of gay people. We get it. Yeah.
do a reality show on them as they go around, and wave their pride, MAGA pride flags. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that world. Have them have a gay rave where they have pictures of Donald Trump and and Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. I don't know. I don't know this world. Point being, it's so stereotypical to think, oh, they're all bigots over in the Midwest. No, a lot of them are very much. I mean, I think Madison, Wisconsin is pretty far to the left. Um, Nebraska, didn't they have that one that one electoral vote go to Uncle Joe, which is what Omaha, which is pretty also to the left. I'm perplexed as what they're thinking. Who's really going to be? Oh my, gay people are extremely oppressed because Trump got elected. I don't see that. You want gay people who are oppressed? Do a reality show on gays of Gaza and see when they're tossed off buildings. See how well that goes.
Yeah,
just
do queers for Palestine in Palestine. How about that?
It got dark really, really.
Yeah. I mean, this show, basically, to put it all in a nutshell, this show is just them just their opportunity to play the victim.
Yeah,
I got a great one.
Opportunity.
I got a great one. Okay, so here we go. I got perfect. Okay, remember Takeshi's Castle, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's gay though.
Yeah.
That way they can't.
I'm just saying.
And it's in Saudi Arabia, and the traps are real.
Okay, man. Hey, high stakes. Why not make them sign a waiver?
Mm-hmm.
Or not. Burj Khalifa dive.
Or not. I mean, the dead can't sue. So I mean, there's.
But the living can. So we just need to make sure that we have that little waiver there.
Point being, it's almost a trope at this point where you get the people. Well, I'm being generous. The people who are when I came out as transgender, I had to leave the church. Well, I don't really think the church would be supportive. Well, I mean, the Catholic Church nowadays apparently is. There are more of us. I think I don't know if that's the case. Again, I've said this before. I'm always amazed that the gay population of the LGBTQ population, I say gay as a catch-all, that it seems to be increasing. It's not stayed steady. It just keeps to keep growing generation by generation by generation. So I'm just perplexed as to why it keeps going up and up and up and up. It can't be because more and more gay people are
because they're definitely not procreating. So
well,
the reality is you are a protected class if you identify as this, and you have some form of social power if you identify as this. I mean, I have on YouTube, I have everything marked that I'm a part of, even though it's all clearly bullshit. You know why? Because there's some protection in that shit. That's just what it boils down to. So yeah, a lot of people are gonna identify this because it's like, oh man, I hate this person, and I can make them out to be the evil one, and I'm the good innocent one if I just call myself non-binary, and they're shitting on me for being quote unquote non-binary. Like this, it's just what it is. And this show, I feel the same way about every other show that portrays people's sex life on camera. I just never had interest in any of that bullshit. I have no interest in this. I mean, I guess it's a positive that it's at least on Hulu and not Disney Plus, where a lot more children conglomerate to. So I guess shout out to Disney for that.
But keep in mind, as I just said, they're going to combine those two beginning next year. So even that's going to go away.
Well, there was that children's show, or not children's show, but there was that show about drag children. Was it on Discovery?
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. Like, it's literally 50-year-old drag queens grooming like 12-year-old boys, and no one seems to have a problem with like a 12-year-old boy wearing fishnet stockings being groomed by a 50-year-old man.
And having money thrown at them.
Yeah.
Was it
maybe the Palestinians were right about a couple of things.
Maybe we should take a couple of notes.
No. But again, I've always said this. Who is the target audience? Who is the target audience for culprits? I back to the culprits. who is the target audience to see black gay men, and one of them being an ex-con whose past is catching up with him?
14-year-old girls, they'll love that.
Tom Hart or Tom Holland.
Oh,
yeah.
Yo, it's hilarious. I don't know if I told this story, but one of my friends sent me like this TikTok of like basically these two individuals that each took like more than a minute to explain their sexuality. And I'm like, why is it that the most unfuckable people in our society really are taking this long to explain what their sexuality is? You are unfuckable. No one cares. Shut the fuck up.
That's her. That should be her new clip for the intro. Holy shit, that should be her new clip for the intro.
Yeah, I second that motion.
Talk about getting demonetized and having your account
immediately.
yeeted within the first 30 seconds.
But again, the point of a show is really to make money.
Propaganda. I mean, it used to be about money and the art, but now it's just propaganda. It's like we can use these television shows and movies to shape opinions, and that's how Hollywood's been operating for the last
And that's how
couple
your
of decades.
gays have started showing up more and more. Gen Z reports that more than 1 in 4 is non-straight. Okay, and we all know that that's not the case in reality. I have an internet daughter, if you will. There's a person I met through John De La Rosa's Discord who's a college student, and she's Gen Z. When I met her, she said she was a lesbian, and over time, I learned that no, she's not, and then that in fact she'd never had any experience with a woman, and she was told she was a lesbian because she liked boobs when she was like in middle school. That was the end of it. That was it. They just told her that she was a lesbian because she liked boobs. I'm like, I like boobs. Does that make me a lesbian? You know, and that she eventually decided to date men. And what do you know? She really liked that. And guys are kind of fun, even though we're dumb and weird. And you know, that's how most of this is that society, like Cassie pointed out, has said there's a protection around them. And moreover, you're boring if you're straight. And that's why they're declaring. That's why the gay is so popular, because it's different. I was talking about this when I was explaining Mark Millar's solution for comics. They made Superman's son gay. Well, of course they did. Superman's done everything 6 freaking times. The only thing they had to do with him, the only thing new they could do with him was give him a gay kid. That was all they had left.
Yeah.
You know, I like to think of how everything plays out in a long-term scenario. And it's like, you know, right now, it's like, yeah, just don't be confused and you'll be ahead of all these insanely confused people out here. That's really what it is. And they're going to be behind no matter how much you think that, oh, I'll be completely fine calling myself this fucking sexuality, or I'm this specific thing, or I'm these 10 different things. You are leaving yourself, or your parents are leaving you behind and making you bottom feeders. But and it's like, to me, I don't give a fuck at the end of the day, because libertarian personality, you go about your life, I will go about mine. You could be as confused as you want. That just leads to you fucking your life up. But I have to think in a long-term basis with how reality is, we are becoming more of a socialist society every fucking year. And you're going, and these people in power are trying to tell me at some point I'm going to have to put my money towards trying to even the odds with these people that have put themselves in this fuck scenario that is going to do nothing but ruin themselves. And I'm supposed to put my tax money towards having them be on equal footing with me. If you choose to fuck yourself, I shouldn't have to carry you on my fucking back. And this is the long-term scenario that is concerning to me.
Yep. All I have to say is to quote the great comedian Earthquake, hell is going to be packed. That's pretty much what he said verbatim. So, and we're seeing that as evidence right now. So, any last thoughts on this one before we jump over to our next topic? Yep, Disney is quite, I don't know if they're going down in flames or if they're just opening hellfire that's already down there, but it's going to be burning one way or another. It's gonna be a lot of fire. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're short on cash, are they? With all the Marvel movies bringing in the massive big butts. But it's time to defrost Uncle Walt and get him back in charge.
Yeah.
Dig him out of the Disney vault and put him in charge.
I think I read a story not too long ago about how people who are cryogenically frozen are pretty much like already like rotted out or something like that because there's some kind of like malfunction that caused them to decompose even in a frozen state. So it's like, yeah, that whole idea of don't worry, I'll be brought back in the future. It's like, no, you won't. You're dead. Get over it. Let's jump over to this topic because this one is actually a very interesting one, and there's definitely a couple ways to look at this story. Kat Von D, you guys know as like the famous tattoo artist who's been in Hollywood for quite some time now. She recently converted to Christianity and finally left the occult, left Satanism, and a lot of other things. And she's getting a lot of interesting discussion and pushback for some of the things that she has said over the last few months. Because look, we've seen people, celebrities, quote unquote, come out and say, "Oh, I found God. I'm following God now." And then like a few months later, they're back doing the same thing they were doing before. Like Kanye is a great example of this, right? So Kat Von D, who came out, and she's essentially a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, did a video where she shows that she got baptized, she's converted to Christianity, she's trying to follow Jesus now after a history of witchcraft, which we'll show you here just in a bit here. But
oh yeah, it's pretty famous. Her witchcraft is really like it was in her tattoo stuff for a while.
Oh, I have pictures of her wedding here in a second, which we'll get to just one moment here. But Kat says she's living a much healthier life, a happier life now as a Christian. The LA Ink star found out about restoring her relationship with God on the Ali Beth Stuckey podcast. Explained that in her 20s that she had a free-thinking mentality to question everything, especially authority, that led to her to practice New Age practices like witchcraft, meditation, yoga, and other things. She went and searched.
It's like I totally co-signed the first part, but then choosing to be like, "Oh, I'm going to question everything," then choosing to go down the whole witchcraft thing. It's like, "Oh, you freaking moron."
Well, keep in mind, she's not talking about like government authority. She's talking about like the literal authority of like God itself, which is where she was rebelling against in the first place here. But she says, I was searching for answers, meeting so many wrong places, like so many people do. After struggling with alcohol and drugs, became sober almost 17 years ago, but found non-Christian spirituality wasn't helping her compared to her short life band-aids on a seeking ship. One night, she started to throw away all of her witchcraft books and other New Age practices, describing them as crutches. He says, I don't need these crutches in my life anymore. That's what really I saw them as. The 41-year-old star says, I just want Jesus. It's a very narrow road. I feel like all these breathing techniques, these spell works, nation worship, and all these other things, these crutches are not really my answer. So she's going on here, and I heard a little bit of the podcast. If you guys hadn't heard about it, she's talking about, what led her kind of away from occultism and Satanism, and she said that when she finally started to like get rid of like her books, and she admitted this on podcast too, that when she wanted to get rid of her books, two people who she described as demon possessed showed up to her house to retrieve the books that she was trying to get rid of because they didn't want her to throw them away. So take that as you will. She's had an encounter with this as well, and she got a lot of flack for this initially because people were like, oh, okay, another person claiming to be Christian. Like, is she actually genuine about this? Is just like another ploy to try to, I guess, grift off of the Christian community? Because people are very, very weary when they hear that a celebrity has truly found God, especially coming from her background. It's like, is she truly really conformed now? She did talk about the fact that when she first came over to Christianity, there was a lot of pushback from Christians who I guess didn't really trust her testimony. But she says here, I'm on fire for Jesus. I don't plan on this dimming out. The more and more I learn, the more excited I get about things, the more that at ease I am in what's happening in the world, and what's happening in my marriage. It's all for it. So she's talked about being into like tarot, witchcraft, meditation, and stuff like this. Now, the reason why so many people are very, very weary of this, because let's go back just a little bit here and show you just exactly the person that Kat Von D is. This is several years ago. This article's from the Vigilant Citizen here, and if we can get it to pop up here, that'd be great. Okay, for some reason it's lagging on that one, so I'm gonna pull it up on this one instead. All right. Got 1 second here. There we go. There we are. So this is going back several years here. This is from 2018. Kat Von D actually had a satanic wedding, and her husband, which you see here on the right, literally identifies as Luciferian. So it's one of those things where they try to be like, well, I'm not a devil worshiper, but I'm all in on Lucifer and the devil and all that stuff. So just basically saying you're a devil worshiper, just call it like what it is here. This was pictures taken from a wedding that they had several years ago, where you see a lot of direct, blatant references to Satanism, to the devil, to all kinds of things. You have inverted crosses as decorations for her wedding here. As you hear, this is part of her altar for her wedding. She has the Baphomet, upside down inverted crosses, all kinds of Satanism on here. This is the altar of the Church of Satan, where I believe she had her wedding as well. This is another picture of her and her husband. This is like years ago, before her conversion to Christianity. You see another picture of her husband here. Like I said, there's a lot of like dark, evil, sinister things that you see her professing here. You can see it in her tattoos, her style, and whatnot. So she's been very, very deep into this lifestyle for quite some time. I mean, keep in mind, these are supposed wedded photos that she has here, and there's a lot of references to a lot of cult imagery there, especially if you're pretty well up on what these things actually represent. So, and this is her big castle wedding cake here, which everything is dripped red in blood. So it's safe to say that she was pretty deep into this whole thing based on her testimony here. Well, now that she's supposedly found Christ and she's supposedly found a new relationship with God, she's trying to get her husband to convert away from Luciferianism, from Satanism. He has not converted yet, but she has. So this is another part of the interview here that she was going on about. He says that when the let me block this out. When the lockdowns happened, my husband, Rafael Reyes, which is his name, said, "Hey, baby, I think we've got it wrong. You know, I think we got a lot of things wrong." She's talking to her husband. It's like, you have to understand at this time, BLM was going hard. I was in the middle of it. I lived 3 doors down from the mayor of LA. We had Antifa in our front yard after they threatened to throw Molotov cocktails and stuff like that. We were just seeing things happen in real time, and they were much worse in real life than what the media had put on TV. I started reevaluating, kind of going down the list of things that I was doing in my life, and this got to be part of my spirituality. This is where I really started rethinking many things. This is what led up to her baptism, her conversion, and she's trying to live a good Christian life. She's trying to learn as much as she can about, you know, following Christ and following the religion. And she says to essentially to pray for her husband, because her husband has not fully converted yet. He's still stuck in his same ways, and I know she doesn't want to have no divorce or anything like that right now. So she's trying to find a way to pull him, but apparently it's leading to conflict here because she wants to get away from a lot of the things that they were previously associated with, but he hasn't left that yet. She describes her husband as very supportive. They go to church together every Sunday. He always supports me. We pray together, but there's a part of him that
wait. He doesn't light on fire when he goes through the door.
I caught that too, but I'm gonna get to that here. But she says that, but part of him they're still questioning after getting so much grief from people. It spilled over to my husband. I remember the next morning I was like, "Babe, I don't want to be a part of that." While holding back tears, she said to be trying to witness to her husband so that he can also come to be saved by faith. He says, "I'm not trying to get emotional, but because I've been working for years trying to lead as an example and share my stepping stones with him, so hopefully one day he can come to me and say, hey, guess what? I've given my heart to Jesus." That hasn't happened yet. She maintained, regardless of the attacks from Christian community, she says that she's stressed off that it turns people off. He said, "I think for the most part, if these people are generally cared about me or my husband instead of picking us apart or picking him apart, I hope that you can go about to pray for us instead. It's really hard for enough in real life to live through a lot of this stuff and then just to have people publicly harass and humiliate us." So she's talking about her struggles, about trying to get her husband to get where she is right now, even though she admits that he's not there. So there's a lot of things going on here. So let me just kind of recap it for you. This is a woman who's been involved in, like I said, Hollywood, Satanism, devil worship, occultism, all kinds of stuff in her life for very many years. Apparently up to the last couple of years, she's finally pulled away from that and she's trying to move towards a life of Christianity, a life of God, a life of Jesus. But she still has so many anchors in her life right now that from her own life, including her own husband, that she really doesn't know like what to do. And there's been, like I said, genuine questions about whether she's serious here. I choose to believe that what she's saying is legitimate. I mean, I don't have any reason to believe that, when she says that, hey, I was involved in this stuff, there's clear evidence that she was. But she's also in a position right now where she's trying to get away from her old influence, and she doesn't know how exactly to pull away, except for like cutting off everything, including her own family, wholesale. So she's in a difficult spot, and I can sympathize with someone being in a difficult spot. But at the same time, like I said, we've seen people who have supposedly come from, this world, who says that, oh, I'm saved, I'm a Christian now. We saw it with Kanye. I believe Marilyn Manson, didn't he get like baptized like a few years ago or something like that? And he didn't really change anything at all. So I also understand the kind of the let's just say the discernment that people have towards whether she's really genuine or not, because if she's trying to go down the right path, we should be supporting her. But I mean, if she's still tied to her husband and all these other influences here, what's to say in a few years she goes right back to what she was doing before, and she's doing interviews a couple years from now saying that, oh yeah, I was wrong, and going back to the occult, going back to Satanism. So I understand the conflict that she's in. If she's genuine, I really do sympathize with her. But if she's true about what she says, she has to really look at all of the bad influences. I mean, all of them too. I mean, even your gothic lifestyle, all of the things that you've been obsessed with over the years. If you really want to get towards the light, you got to start cutting that out too, because that stuff is also bringing a lot of darkness into your life. But Rick, I'm going to start this one off with you here. What's kind of your take on Kat Von D, her supposed conversion to Christianity, and her struggles to try to bring people close to her to Christ as well? And you're seeing kind of a real life fight here between good and evil. We don't really know which one this is going to go on. So what's kind of your take on her whole story here so far?
Well, let me start out by saying that I have the vaguest idea who this woman is. I don't watch reality shows, though. I mean, I get an inkling, no pun intended, as to who she is. First, I will say that Christians should give her the benefit of the doubt. There are many people who who come to faith, who come from various backgrounds. They were drunks, they were drug addicts, they were serial cheaters, or they just might have been thieves or robbers. I mean, those are the people that Christ came primarily for. He says, I did not. I came for those who are sick. The physician, not for those who are well. And I think we should give. I use we, though I'm like the most weak Christian around. I will say that we should give her the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully she has found a good church that she can go to and get instruction. I think it should be about instruction, not imposing a lot of rules on her. That's probably one of the problems in a lot of uh, mainline or Christianity, that you want to start putting in a lot of heavy burdens on new believers, so they might crumble. There's also that I was reminded of that scripture that Jesus taught, that parable about spreading seeds in various locations, and then you have those that are spread with the thorns. I think it's the thorny ground, where that first they receive the word with great joy, but the pressures of life and everything around the world will choke out their faith. This might be a case where other people who have converted do so with great joy, but eventually wither away because of the pressures, or they don't receive proper instruction. I think we should give her the benefit of the doubt, and just say, all right, well, we're thankful that you have found peace and that you have found joy. So we will do our best to welcome you. We will do our best to instruct you. And but you do have to make certain changes. And I'm glad you're making them. Getting rid of your occult books. I don't hold her occult wedding against her, because, again, that was done pre-conversion. And I'm not horrified by things like her tattoos, because I see a lot of that in my church. I feel strange because sometimes I'm like one of the few people at my church that doesn't have any tattoos. But I give her the benefit of the doubt. I wish her the best. I want everyone to find spiritual peace. As for her husband, hey, at least he's going to church. He's hearing it. It's up to him. I hope that Kat Von D realizes it is not her place to convert anyone, because she cannot convert anyone. She's a new believer herself. She can't, she's not in a position to give instructions. She can pray for her husband. If necessary, she might have to divorce her husband, because it would be detrimental to her own spiritual growth.
Yeah.
But again, I think the church general should do their best to welcome her, not make her into like some sort of, oh, look, we've converted this one, or thanks to us. It's not up to us. It's up to Christ, if that's what you believe. You should welcome her, and say, hey, we welcome you. We're glad. We will help you in however we can, but it's also some things that you have to do yourself. You have to work out your faith with fear and trembling. I wish her the best, and that's really my take on it. And this goes to any new convert who's come from this. It's not just Kat Von D. It comes for anyone who comes from the world of darkness into the light. I wish everyone the best. Yeah, exactly. I wish everyone the best, and I wish them spiritual peace. So good for her, and I hope it sticks. I hope it sticks.
Yeah. And like I said, I sympathize with somebody in her position too, because I think somebody had mentioned earlier, I think it's don't let them burn. It's like, yeah, when you're that deep into Satanism and the occult like she was, like if you're genuinely trying to move away from that, then yeah, you're going to be under a lot of demonic attack, because who knows exactly how deep she was in while before her conversion a couple of years ago. I mean, she probably was dealing with some very, very dark stuff, and it's not easy for people to pull away from that once you start trying to remove yourself from it. And I understand that completely. There's people, there's tons of testimony out there on like YouTube and TikTok and a lot of other platforms about people who were into the occult, who are in the Satanism, who moved away from that, and they talk about, how difficult it was. It's like I had to end up getting rid of everything about my personality, everything, all my books, all of my crystals, everything that I had that was attached to occultism. I just had to get rid of it entirely, and it was tough. Like even after I got rid of it, I was still dealing with spiritual attacks because I was so possessed by these things that it was hard for me to like move away from it. And it was only getting deeper into the Word of God, deeper into the faith, that pulled them out of it. So I know that it's not an easy thing for a lot of people to deal with here. So I definitely sympathize with her in that aspect. And like I said, if you're married to someone who's still actively in that lifestyle that you're trying to pull away from, I know she's trying to make it work and she's trying to like save him, but at the same time, if it gets to the point where being with this person is like you said, affecting you spiritually to the point where you're going to have to make a tough choice, I mean, it comes to a point where it's like, if you got to choose between God and your husband, you always choose God. I hate to break it to you, but Cider, let me just kind of get your thoughts on it. Like I said, you know a lot about Kat Von D. You know a lot about kind of like her background and stuff like that. So what's your kind of your take hearing her testimony and her trying to move away from these dark things that she's been associated with?
Listening to her language in that quote, like I didn't hear her voice or anything in that quote, but I listened to the way she's talking. So I watched her tattoo show I think it was on TLC, and because it's just fascinating. Personally, I find the whole culture fascinating. So I don't have any. Nope. I just find it fascinating. That's all. But Kat is sincere. She has a fake way of talking. Did a lot of that on the TV show. And when she would lose her temper, you could hear the passion in her come out. What she really meant would come out. And those words that she chose in that interview, while not impassioned, were the words that she chose in the show when she would get very upset or pushed into a corner, or this kind of place where the truth would come out either inadvertently or from a place she'd been hiding it. And the skittish nature of that language she was using, that's real. As for forgiving and forgetting and moving on, I don't think anybody has to do that. I don't think anybody has to. I think if you want to, you can. If you want to forgive her past, go for it. If you don't want to, don't. It's fine. She's got to forgive her past. She's got to move on with that and find peace with it, and find peace with it with God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. It's not your job. You're not going to stand there and have testimony for her when she's before St. Peter at the pearly gates. You got your own to deal with. So if you feel it's in your best interest to forgive that Kat Von D's past, go for it. If you don't feel that that's necessary to find your way into heaven, that's fine too. Without TV, you'd never know who this woman is anyway. So
yeah,
it's fine. That's the way I look at it.
Orange Hat, more and more, we've been covering these stories for months. I think we're really starting to expose just how dark and sinister and evil the entertainment industry truly is, because you just hear one story after another of people being involved in Satanism and the occult and all the things that are going on behind closed doors that, they don't want anyone to talk about because they don't want people to focus on the movies and the television shows. But when you see the fruits of what these TV shows are being produced here, we just did one on that Hulu show here, and now you're starting to understand the mentality behind these shows and why they all feel dark and depressing and evil. Is because a lot of people involved with creating these shows are into this darkness, and it's engulfed the entire industry here. So I do look at it from a perspective of, I think Kat has an opportunity here to really kick open the doors of what exactly goes on in Hollywood if she wants to truly be a beacon of light for her industry, like Kate said here. But yeah, sooner or later someone's gonna have to blow the door open of just how sinister this industry is. You agree?
I do. Mel Gibson has done that a couple times. But a lot of people disregard him because of other things he has said. This woman, as for whether or not I believe she is genuine, there are people who get so far into the whole Satanism thing because of its dark allure, so to speak. And then they find out what really goes on behind that stuff. And for some of them, it can scare it could scare God into a person. It could basically put the fear of God into you. And once you basically realize how far this rabbit hole goes, and it doesn't have a bottom. It's a bottomless pit, much like an abyss. Now, me, I'm not a perfect Catholic, but I have seen and had experiences that are not shareable, let's just say that. And if the darker half is real, then I'm pretty sure the lighter half is real. Let's just say that. And this woman has probably, I'm guessing, got scared because she saw that darker half. And so she fears what that darker half has done to her. So there's a possible chance that happened, and that's impossible. With that, she's probably trying to, if she's actually actively trying to convert her husband away from that lifestyle, that does go in, that does add weight to her sincerity if she is indeed doing it. I feel that this woman has probably seen some stuff, and I do agree with you, Jake. She should probably do some exposing of that stuff, because it's like, I have been in this position for years. I have lived this life for years, and a lot of it is absolutely dark, and we really should move away from it. And I do wish her the best, and I do pray that she is indeed sincere, because if she isn't, it's going to get very toasty when her time comes. Let's just say that.
Yep. So, like I said, that there's a reason why we want her to be genuine, because going down the path that she's on now, that she was on beforehand, it's like, yeah, there's only one destination. And you're not going to like where that ends up. Cassie, what's kind of your thoughts on just Kat's story here, and what do you think about it?
Well, for me, I've seen people that have converted to, Christianity and have gone to be better people than they were prior. So if that is something that helps her to be a better person, to do better things, then that's an avenue I support for her personally. And with in regards to her husband's situation, I mean, you can obviously encourage him to want to get away from that, but you can't force someone to do something that they don't want to do. And that's just kind of what it falls into. Being exposed to something better uh, is good. So at least he does, support her in going to, church and whatnot. I'm not really a very religious person. I was raised Catholic, and the whole situation with the Roman Catholic Church, kind of just moving some nasty ass priests around has definitely made me think a few things. But
personally why
like
I
I
don't
said,
consider Catholics to be Christians, but that's a topic for the Bible Lens podcast on Monday nights.
yeah. But
Right
when
here
it
on this
comes
channel.
when it comes down to it, between Christianity and Satanism, obviously I'm going to choose Christianity. There was no way I'd ever fuck around in the whole Satanist thing and whatever have you. So getting away from that mindset of being selfish and whatnot, because that's really what Satanism is. It's more about self worship than anything else. But yeah, getting away from that and thinking of the bigger picture is something that we all need to do, especially if you have children, especially when you live for people other than yourself. So anything to get away from that, I mean, that's good. If she goes on to expose Hollywood, I would, that would be nice, but that shouldn't be her burden to bear, because I understand the target on your back given that scenario. But yeah,
And,
just hope that things work out for her.
I was thinking about this too, and I'm not saying that I know this for 100%, so don't use me as a reference here, then go to court saying no, the guy on YouTube said. But considering the fact that we know for a fact that her wedding to her husband was satanic in nature, and that's kind of the bond that she still actively goes by in their quote unquote marriage. I don't think they'll be violating any rules from God if they were to break that relationship, if it comes down to it, considering the fact you guys got married in a satanic ceremony to begin with. You weren't exactly under God when you guys got married in the first place. So I don't know if that's one of the things that's holding you back, that you're worried about getting divorced and whatnot. I think you might be in one of those situations where you could get away with it given the circumstances. And yeah, when it comes to like this whole story, this is why I've been covering a lot more of these stories, because I think this issue with Hollywood, whether it's the music industry, the fashion industry, the film, whatever the case may be, is a lot more prevalent than people want to admit. And I know, like 10, 15 years ago, and Rob would know this if he was here, that when we talked about stuff like this, it all sounded like a wacky conspiracy theory, and you would sound like a crazy person. You would sound like a person that says that the earth is flat and the moon is made of cheese if you brought this up, several years ago. But now you're starting to see so many testimony from people who are both actively engaged in it or previously engaged in it, to say that no, there's actually something really going on here that people really need to know about, because these are the people who are essentially influencing society, right? Like Rick was asking us a while ago, it's like, why is it that there's so many people who are part of the LGBTQ, and why is this movement growing? It's like, well, who's behind this movement and why are they behind this movement? And the reality is there's a lot of people out there who are pushing these things because they know that this upsets the one true God, and they're basically rebelling against him. So it's like, oh, what do we know God hates? Same-sex marriage. Well, let's push that and make that mainstream. What else do you hate? Pride. Oh, let's push that and make that mainstream. Sexual immorality, thefts, murder. Let's make all the bad things good in the eyes of society, because we're essentially serving someone who is not of God, but is of a much darker and sinister variety. And like I said here, this is one of my favorite verses in the entire Bible here, Ephesians 5:11. You guys read it here yourself. Have no fellowship of unfruitful works of darkness, rather reprove them or expose them, for it's a shame to even speak about what they have done in secret. And I feel like this verse can imply a lot to what's going on in Hollywood, with a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that we'll probably never know about. I mean, as somebody brought it up in our chat earlier, there's a reason why we don't have the Epstein list, because if that rabbit hole gets exposed, then a lot of things that we see in our society it's not gonna hold up very well. And there's some people who probably should be dragged on the street and thrown into a guillotine. Not that I'm advocating that, but they probably would deserve it at this point. So like I said, I sympathize for Kat. I really do hope she's sincere, because I know the alternative of if she's not sincere, and I don't wish that upon anyone, even someone who I don't like, especially when you realize the reality of what hell is. So I hope that she is saved. I hope that her husband converts before it's too late, and I think there's a reason why there's so many people who are coming out of this, especially recently now, because I personally feel like we're a lot closer to revelations than a lot of people would like to admit. And let's just put it this way: you don't want to be left behind, so you probably want to make sure that you're on the right side while you have the chance. So that's what I'll leave it with. You guys got any final thoughts before we move on to our next topic here? All right, then. Well, we're gonna go ahead and jump kind of in line. Another serious story, not as serious as the one we just talked about here, but Gal Gadot, formerly known as Wonder Woman, she's not Wonder Woman anymore, thanks to James Gunn. But she's gotten some heat over the last week or so because she did a private screening in Hollywood showing the brutal Hamas attack on Israel and the Israelites. She did the screening, I believe, about a week ago. So if you guys haven't been following what's been going on here, October the 7th, there was an attack in Israel by Hamas. They came over the border, kidnapped a bunch of people, slaughtered a bunch of people. As a result, Israel's been on the attack on the Gaza Strip in Palestine ever since. And you see all over the world, there's these demonstrations. Half the people are supporting Palestine, half the people are supporting Israel, and there's a lot of conflict, especially in Hollywood. Gal Gadot, who is from Israel, is a very strong proponent of the nation of Israel. She's getting a lot of heat from a lot of the lefties in Hollywood who are pro-Palestine, who are anti-Israel, but she is not letting that deter her at all. She is going all in on her support on Israel. This was going back here to last week. Gal Gadot reportedly spearheading the Hollywood screening of a 47-minute video of the atrocities committed by the terrorist group Hamas during the attack last month. The footage was provided by the Israeli Defense Forces and shown to a select group of celebrities and influential figures. The screening was planned to host 120 viewers and potential additional screenings based on interest. Like I said, this is going back to October 7th. They killed Hamas here, killed 1,400 Israelis, taking 240 people, including foreigners, hostage. You guys saw, I'm pretty sure you guys saw a lot of the videos that were going on at that time, a lot of the pictures. It was very, very brutal stuff. And obviously, you have one of the biggest actresses in Hollywood right now who's from Israel, who's going to do whatever she can to support her nation, even though there's a lot of people here on this side of the world who do not like her. And there's talks about possibly having her, I guess, blacklisted, not kind of in the same way that Gina Carano was blacklisted for some of the things that she says, but obviously anyone who supports Hollywood is going to draw the ire of left-wing people here. Then apparently a fight broke out at this screening as well. This was updated from just a few days ago, but as she was doing this screening, there was a fight that broke out in Los Angeles outside of this whole thing where anti-Israel protesters were physically attacking, it says, Jewish people. This is based on the video here. Hopefully I can play at least some of it. This is outside of the screening. Keep in mind, this is apparently like Los Angeles, so you have people who hate Israel so much they're literally fist fighting out on the streets of LA over a movie screening here. And I actually do believe I've been on that street before in Los Angeles too. So there's a lot of screaming going on. There's a lot of fighting. And eventually, the cops break it up. But this is what's going on the flip side of the Hollywood coin. And like I said, there's talks now about Gal Gadot, now that she's no longer Wonder Woman, she's not in that DC universe, is she's going to start going in even further in her support of Israel? Is that going to earn her backlash within, the Hollywood industry? I believe there was a story that came out like last week about like a few big name actresses that unfollowed her on social media. Like Anna de Armas was apparently one of them who unfollowed Gal Gadot because of her support of Israel. And you said you're talking about a pretty, wicked place in Hollywood, but is she going to sit here and make a stand? She's like, publicly, she's at least going to, but what's going to be the backlash of this? Is this going to blow up to something even more now that she's saying that I'm not choosing Palestine, I'm not choosing Islam, I'm not choosing Hamas? And we'll see how that goes throughout the course of the next few weeks here. But I guess we should go ahead and start off with Rick here. What do you think about Gal Gadot making a stand for Israel?
Well, there are things that we have to remember. First, She is Israeli, and I believe she served in the IDF. This is her nation. These are her fellow countrymen that are being attacked, that are being beheaded, that are being killed, left, right, and center. So, of course, she's going to rally in the same way that when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, Americans rallied. They, from all political sides, they rallied to America's defense. The same way she feels, the same way. It's her nation. It's her people. Why would people say that she shouldn't? And then now there is also, she wants to combat the narrative that's been building that somehow um, either there are no actual atrocities, that people, seniors weren't uh, gunned down at bus stops, and that babies weren't beheaded, or that somehow it's somehow justified because the Arab Palestinians were in what they're called open air prisons of the Gaza Strip or an apartheid state or this, that, or the other. It's it's important to her, and it's good that she's willing to sacrifice a career for what she believes to be right, and to save or to do whatever she can to rally for her people and for her nation. Granted, we've had issues with her. We still have, remember, Imagine, that little video
Oh
that she
yeah,
did.
did not forget about that.
Yeah. So it's not like she's perfect, but in this case, she's willing to step up and be a target, metaphorical, perhaps literal, for the betterment of her nation. I'm just curious, though. Where's Natalie Portman in all this? She also identifies as Israeli. Where is she?
Well, Natalie Portman, unlike Gal Gadot, has repeatedly denounced Israel every chance she's had an opportunity to. So, as far as if you're looking for a celebrity who actually defends where she comes from, Gal Gadot is much better in that aspect.
Natalie Portman's a damn terrorist sympathizer.
Yeah, but I was just about to say, but even when this attack happened last month, even Natalie Portman had to come out and support Israel based on what happened here. So, what happened last month was so bad, even Natalie Portman couldn't deflect the blame on that one.
Yeah,
so.
it's
Natalie
interesting
the
that
Portman, huh?
It's interesting
I heard
that
Natalie D. Portman.
So. Yeah, that's what I said, Natalie D. Portman, which is actually
I heard that too. But yeah, the attack was so horrific and brutal that left and right in Israel joined forces, and even the Arab Israelis have, for the most part, rallied towards Israel's defense. Same with Gal Gadot. Whatever she may be as an actress, not the best actress in the world. Whatever her missteps, these are, like I said, this is her nation. These are her people. She was going to stand by them and do what she can to counteract the narrative that's building, that somehow none of these things actually happened, or it wasn't as bad. That women weren't raped or abducted, children weren't raped. Well, not about children were raped, but they were abducted. They weren't beheaded. Uh, it's a brutal, horrific thing that's been going on in the past month or so. She's doing her part. She's going to present the video, which I understand members of the Knesset and Congress have seen and have all been horrified by, and even the press, some of whom were probably more sympathetic towards the Arab Palestinians, have seen the footage, and a lot of them have walked out in horror. I think there's only so much you can see. So good for her. I would say good for her, because again, I go back to the same point. This is a nation. These are her people. This is the country that she identifies with and she's proud of. So she's willing to put that on the line, as opposed to, I guess, other people like Mark Ruffalo, who somehow believe that the Arab Palestinians are the true victims of all of this. I would argue that they're not, but by and large, good for her. That's my sole takeaway from this.
All right, Tyler, what do you think about this?
Rick pretty much put it into perspective. She's a former IDF. Of course, she's going to respond this way. We have all these American soldiers who get into doing the same thing. Some of the guys who are involved in the Sound of Freedom are ex-military. It's just how it is, And so, of course, these people who agree to lay their lives down for a country are going to care about it, and that's what she's doing. I don't necessarily agree with putting war footage like war footage in a movie theater, but it's a different world, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was done in
But
World War
she's
II.
done it.
well, they
I was
weren't
gonna
showing
say,
the Nazis getting their limbs blown off in the previews at the picture show. They were showing the warplanes flying around and the boys making formation and doing drills. They weren't showing them like, executing the Nazi prisoners at the camps, that kind of stuff.
No.
This is the footage that we're gonna get from Gal is the actual blood, guts, and gore of it, not a propaganda film in the sense of like, our Israeli boys are fighting to make sure that America stays safe across the world. It's not none of that. You're gonna have like crying children, and then that crying is going to abruptly stop. And that's what she's putting in the movie theater, and I don't agree with that. I'm not down with that. I was okay when they stopped showing Uday and Kusei's dead bodies on CBS. I was okay with that. I think that's a little over the top for like evening news. Forgive me.
Yeah, but like I said, I think she's also doing
Gaddafi being dragged to this.
Yeah, call me crazy, but like watching him being beaten to death live on CNN was a bit much.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, for her, she's doing it intentionally to be provocative. Because like I said, especially in Los Angeles, as you can plainly see, there are people out there that are supporting exactly what Hamas is doing. So it's like, okay, you guys support what's going on here. Let me show you exactly what's happening over there, what you guys are literally cheering for out in the streets. And it's a good reminder, our good buddy Mephisto here, who's in Israel, so he's there like live at the epicenter of all this that's happening. He's even saying that there's even far leftists in Israel who are supporting exactly what Hamas is doing, and they were the ones who were attacked to begin with. So yeah, stupidity is not just Western centric. Let's just put it that way. So Orange Hat, what's your thoughts?
I respect her for doing it. I will respectfully disagree slightly with Cider. Putting it up there provides the necessary shock that some people need, because they are it's very easily to say, well, we are against apartheid and yada yada, and yeah, it's very easy to say that, but once you see what this side is doing, the very grisly reality of it, that these people have no problem, especially like the gays for Palestine, go over there. You will fucking see what they will, or what they think of your movement. In fact, they'll actually kill you. They won't freaking say, oh, we appreciate your support. No, they will fucking kill you. It is absolutely...
Just real quick, like there's videos on social media of these Queers for Palestine people getting confronted by actual Arabs and Islamists saying that we don't want your support. Like, you guys are degenerates, go away.
Yes. And they're like, well, and then you see
anything.
them walk with their heads, or then you see them walk away like, oh, but it's like, that's what you gotta see. You have to see the grisly reality of it. Now, I am not saying that it needs to be to the level of the media back with Gaddafi, but what she did is in a way important, because it gave some of those celebrities a little bit of that wake-up call that they so desperately need right now, because a lot of them are still like, well, it's like, no, shut up, there is no well, there is no but. We are not allied with Palestine. Yes, it sucks that innocents are dying in war. That is an unfortunate reality. But our ally is Israel. History, the history that is known and recorded, not the history that people want to change, shows Israel had rights to that land. Now, when it comes to Gal Gadot, yes, she has done some stupid shit. We will not forget that. And, well, some of us, I mean, I'm a forgiving person. I can't hold a grudge worth shit. Well, actually, depends really. But when it comes to
we're taking this to the grave.
Yeah, right. When it comes to supporting your homeland, absolutely support her. I absolutely support her, because she is doing what all of us as red-blooded Americans should do when shit hits the fan. What happened after 9/11? we all, it didn't matter your nation, your creed, your religion, your political party, none of that mattered. We all came together because we all were attacked. And this is basically, in a way, their 9/11. In a way, I'm not saying, I mean, yeah, pretty much. What is the kill count over there? Thousands?
Well, on that date, I think it was 1,400. Because they had the people who killed at the music festival at the various kibbutzes, and of course the toddlers and babies who could not defend themselves.
Well, that was the same casualty list or descriptions as many of the people during 9/11. There were kids in those buildings that died. And the same as for what happened over there when Hamas terrorists decided to attack Israel. So I do support Gal Gadot. She gave the people in that theater a freaking brutal wake-up call. And she absolutely has every right to say, yes, I have seen this shit up close. Well, I don't know specifically if she has or not, but she was in the IDF. That is actually a requirement if you are an Israeli citizen. You do a specific amount of time in the military there. So, yeah, I do support her, and I think that the people who got the wake-up call and those who walked out of either shame or disgust, maybe that just might give them a little bit of time to think, are we supporting the right side? Or if they were walking out like, I don't care what she shows us, I'm believing that side, well, shame the fuck on you. I support Gal Gadot's endeavor in this regard. She has every right to be a patriot for Israel.
Cassie, what do you think?
Well, not expecting a Jew to side with Israel is kind of like stupid.
Especially someone who's actually from there. It's like,
yeah, exactly. To expect a Jew to not side with Israel, like, I don't really have much to say to that. I expected,
unless you're Natalie Portman, of course.
Damn, woman, I almost spit out my water all over this keyboard.
I don't know what to say.
Holy shit.
But to your point, I mean, I do agree with this. It's like, even if I don't support Israel 100%, it's like, she's from there. Like, it's her country. Yeah. It's like, why would I not expect her to support her country? It's like, like I said, the whole thing of like Russia and Ukraine. It's like, if someone from the Ukraine supports Ukraine, I'm not gonna like get all over them because they support Ukraine. That's their country. Like, they have every right to support their country. And people here are like, they've been attacking her for years. Like, this isn't like a new like aspect. They've hated her for years because she's pro-Israel and that she supports the nation that she was born and raised in. And it's like, why would you think that she would turn against, like, are you so used to Natalie Portman that you think that every Israeli is going to turn against the place that they were born from? That's not how it works. Like, I don't understand the objection there for a lot of these people. But then again, as we've proven, some people are just dumb. Some people are just very, very dumb.
You also have when Natalie I remember seeing reports that Natalie Portman would go to Israel to do those prayer bits for the Jewish holidays and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And now hearing her actually say, shame on Israel, it's like, woman, don't ever go back there. I don't care if you are a Jew, or I don't care if you're a Jew or not. After you sided with the people who are trying to just destroy your homeland, you honestly should not be allowed to go back there. You should be shunned.
I think it's because a lot of people, Jews and non-Jews, who are at least equivocating on who's in the right and who's right and who's wrong, have really accepted the idea that Gaza is occupied, it's an open air prison, that Israel is an apartheid state. They have accepted this as gospel truth. Even some Israelis and some Jews who live outside of Israel. So, of course, they see Israel as the aggressor, and somehow October 7th was a quote, reaction against oppression. This is what they genuinely believe. I don't know, though, if acting against oppression, that beheading babies and killing senior citizens who are just at the bus stops, waiting there, who are completely unarmed, somehow is freeing your people. It's just
Well, this is
It's
where we
just
get
their way
down
of
to the
thinking that
nitty
they're
gritty of
oppressed.
this. It's like people are supporting Hamas, where Hamas and a lot of the Islamic countries in that region, they just want to exterminate the Jews who are in that region. That's their objective, and they've been very, very open about saying that we just want to wipe Israel off the map. And like I said, you want to talk about end time prophecies. This has been going on ever since the days of Ishmael and Isaac. So we're seeing it playing out here in real time as well. And if you want to really get into the nitty gritty of it, on our Bible Lens podcast, we did a 2-part series on Islam, especially their teachings of the Mahdi, the Muslim Jesus, and the Dajjal. And you put those two together, then you realize, maybe this is exactly what the Bible is warning about in Revelations. Maybe we are quite literally seeing the rise of the Antichrist in real time. So,
I mean,
again,
there's also
they see. Oh, go ahead, Orange.
I mean, not to get too political, but we've had certain politicians who literally incited insurrections last month, and going by their standard, insurrections, mind you, going by their standard, they were basically inciting insurrections. But one of them literally tried spreading false information about one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, saying that he was a Muslim because he had a Quran. When, if you actually know your history, he had a Quran so he would better understand the Barbary pirates and how to best eliminate them from our shores. But yeah, it really is. I'm not saying that a person doesn't have a right to their religious freedoms. However, I do not believe that a person who has that much hate for our country should be put in any sort of political position. If you are not, or if your allegiance is not to this country, then you should not be allowed to serve.
Well, no, I don't know. Vote blue, no matter who. Remember,
I
I
don't
will
give a
say,
fuck.
I'll say that I think Orange Hat and I might remember the Why We Fight series of films that were made prior to World War II, and I think in the beginning, to try to explain to people literally why we fight, why we got involved in the Second World War when there was still a great push to keep us out, which after Pearl Harbor we couldn't do. This footage that she's showing is both to counteract the idea that there were no atrocities or that the stories have been exaggerated, and also to say, look, the people here who committed these crimes are barbaric. They are outdoing the Nazis. Hamas is just Nazis with an Arab face. So she's doing what she can to bring that into light. And I think also Orange Hat and I know that right after Germany fell, the Americans forced German civilians to go through the concentration camps. And I think many of them were so horrified at what they might have suspected. Maybe some truly did not know. Probably most had some ideas, but I think they were so horrified by it that that Germany has been probably the most strict, at least up to recently, about Nazism, about anti-Semitism, about any suggestion of anti-Semitism. That's kind of died down in the past few decades, where they've been more welcoming towards tolerance, towards those who are less sympathetic to the West. I'll put it that way. Until now, where they also remember that they have been stained with the most horrific act of true genocide in modern history. I mean, maybe the Armenian and Ukrainian genocides are up on that level, but the Germans are very sensitive about what happened during World War II, and seeing this now, and then seeing so many people, particularly non-native Germans, in Germany cheering on Hamas and cheering on this group of Nazis has made them very leery, and they need to counteract that. I don't know if seeing the footage will change Arab minds, particularly Arab-Palestinian minds, because they seem to be, and I keep saying this on the X Twitter, it's a death cult. They're bred, sadly, from as children up until until they're seniors, to think of themselves as martyrs or shaheed, to embrace death. And Golda Meir, who curiously enough, she has a movie, or I mean, there's a movie about her now. Golda Meir said it best. We will have peace with the Arab Palestinians when they love their children more than they hate us. It's sad that they still are determined to wipe off Israel off the map. And the people who are saying, from the river to the sea has various interpretations. No, it only has one. It means wiping out an entire nation and its citizens off the face of the earth. I don't know how you can say that there are various interpretations of this. So back to Gal Gadot, she wants to bring attention to that. That's what she's doing. All the best to her. If this is her contribution to the war effort.
Yep. And like I said, I hit up basically what Cassie said. I don't understand why people are trying to get upset and trying to like blacklist Gal Gadot because she supports the country that she was born in. And look, we know that there's the two sides that, like I said, they've been fighting quite literally since the beginning of time, and it's going to continue up until essentially the end here. But there's a lot of violence and atrocities going on. But what Hamas is doing, we all saw what happened when this whole thing went down. And for people to pretend like that somehow those videos were all like, oh, that doesn't justify. It's like, well, yeah, when you start something, usually the reaction that you get is not going to be very kind, let's put it that way. And yeah, you want to not get bombed in retaliation, and I don't know, maybe don't kill 1,400 people in a nation and brutally murder them and their families, stuff like that. So like I said, you saw what happened here in the United States when 9/11 happened and 3,000 people died, what our retaliation to that was. So you can't sit here and say that, oh, well, oh, poor us, because we're getting like, yeah, stop attacking people. That's all it comes down to. And it's funny how it's always the same culprits every single time. Maybe the religion of peace needs to work on being a little bit more peaceful. Let's put it that way. So, I don't know. What do you guys think here? Because we got one more story here, but I'm just going to leave it to you guys. Do you want to cover it now, or do you want to just wrap this thing up here? It's the Keke Palmer story. If you just want to bitch about what a complete idiot this chick is over the course here.
I'm ready to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. So thumbs up, thumbs down. I think you guys see through it. Thumbs down. Okay. You know what? We'll save it for next week. We'll save that story for next week. It's not that important. She's just, her mother's talking about that her boyfriend's abusive or something like that. But it's like, I really don't care much about Keke Palmer. We've talked about far more important stories than that. We don't need to double back on that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys get out of here early, just for being good students. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this one up here with you guys. Orange Hat, go ahead and promote anything you got coming up so we can talk about something else. So go ahead, Orange.
Well, tomorrow I am discussing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secrets of the Ooze, with my friend Mara on her channel for the ones and twos, 8 p.m. on the channel Jade Shadow. And Thursday I am discussing Shin Godzilla in lead up for Godzilla -1. We're discussing that at 8 p.m. Thursday night on my channel. She and I do the singles. Let's see here. Sunday nights are doing Tolkien Sundays. I'm finishing off the Lord of the Rings stuff with the appendices, where me and my hack crew are going to be discussing different things we liked about behind the scenes and stuff that we forgot to mention during the movies discussions. Monday, I have a interview late at night with Master Swag King. He wants to do a one-on-one with me on his channel. I believe that's going to be 7 p.m. Pacific Standard on the 19th. And Tuesdays, like today and next week, I'm going to be doing Jason Bourne Tuesdays, which I'm going to be discussing the Bourne Ultimatum. And yep, you can always find me here on Tuesday nights with the Bar Room.
All right, we'll go over to our good buddy Rick. What you got coming up, Rick?
I have just finally published the End of My Life with Lucy retrospective, so it's done. I know that everyone was excited to know that.
For it to end, yeah, we were totally excited for it to end.
Yes, finally, no more Life with Lucy. So I've got that. I've got upcoming reviews. I should hopefully finish my reviews for Killers of the Flower Moon. I saw Journey to Bethlehem, but I'm saving that one for my annual Christmas movie review. And yeah, just my weekly haikus, and yeah, that's pretty much it. More, always the same. More reviews, more haikus, and no more Lucy's. So I'm sorry, America. No more Life with Lucy. But thank you for enduring all that. God bless you all.
All right then, Cider, what you got coming up, my friend?
Well, just very simply, folks, please tune into the Black Pill stream on Wednesday. It is John Trent's last Black Pill stream with Bounding. It's the last time he's probably going to be on the YouTube channel, at least for a while. So please tune into that and send him off on his next journey with us.
I mean, he's not.
It's 9 p.m. rather. Sorry, it's 9 p.m.
Not dying, is he? You make it sound like he's about to die.
Man, you made it sound like he's dying. Jeez.
Well, he's leaving Bounding. I mean, that's a pretty big. I think that's a pretty.
The tone that you delivered it in, it made like he was going to leave the earth. It was like
effectively he is.
Oh my god. No more Black
All
Pills.
right. Well, Cassie, I guess you can wrap this one up.
Yeah, it won't be nearly as depressing. But guys, today I uploaded a video goofing on journalists for claiming that apparently Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 got review bombed. They just don't accept the reality that maybe the game is just shit, or maybe they're just trying to capitalize off of some clicks. Either way, we laugh at it together. Tomorrow, I will upload a video discussing the reality that, well, Hogwarts Legacy got blacklisted from getting any video game nominations at the Game Awards. So, yeah, we're going to rip into one of the countless reasons as to why the Game Awards is a joke. This Thursday, we shall enter the Twilight Zone of gaming. My live stream discuss the fuck shit that happens in the gaming space. So, yeah, guys, if you want into any of that, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cult Classic Cage, or follow me on Twitter, Cult Classic Cage.
All right. Letting you know what I got coming up here on the channel over the next few days. So this Friday night, we'll be doing another movie night, and we're watching the 1990 film Blood Games. It's a good old-fashioned 80s style exploitation film about a bunch of women who go and play baseball, a bunch of drunk rednecks, and things go bad, and the rednecks hunt the women, and it's a pretty interesting film. We'll watch that on Friday night. It'll be on first 30 minutes to be here, then we'll watch it on Rumble and on Twitch as well. So check us out Friday night at 10 p.m. Next Monday night, the next episode of our Bible Lens podcast, we're going to talk about the Calvinist idea behind limited atonement. And while I believe that that is probably the most damaging belief within Calvinism, we'll talk about that more detail on Monday night. And then we'll be back here at episode 75 next Tuesday night with the Barroom podcast. And maybe if we'll feel like it, we'll talk about Keke Palmer, but I don't think anyone's really grounded to talk about anything that she has anything to do with it. And by the way, like I said, tomorrow night on the Black Pill stream will be the last one with John. So if you guys can all join us on Wednesday night, and says John leaving, I didn't even know he was sick. And then just spam that in the chat, and that should be a good way to sign off for our good buddy John. So to everyone who joined us throughout the course of the night, I'll go ahead and give you guys a quick little shout out here before my internet dies throughout the ending of the show, and I can't say anything to anyone again for the second week in a row, but Neozoic, Doba Fett, Biggle Metz, Kate, Eddie Brock, Rooftop Korean, Leslie Tarkin, Duke Nukem, Vanya, Neozoic, shout out to you. Masters of TDS, who was joining us earlier, Alex vs. Evil, who was joining us, Mephisto's movie reviews, joining us here tonight, DK, Don't Let Him Burn. Truth for joining us, Spencer for joining us here on the show tonight. Josh was here for a little bit, Twitless was here for us tonight, JEC, Rich Swaglord joining us here tonight, Joe Numas joining us here. Who else? I want to make sure to get everyone before we sign off here.
What happened to TW?
He had internet problems. No one cares. Who else? BLW, BLT joining us here tonight as well. Then for everyone else joining us here on the podcast, thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you guys Friday night for movie night, if not Monday night for the Bible Lens show, and if not next Tuesday night for the bar room once again. So now I get to hit the intro this time. So good night, goodbye. We'll see you later. Adios.
It's over. Go home.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Okay.
Get out! Get out! You get the hell out!
Never mind who you thought I was. I'm Rick James, bitch.